Welcome back to this episode of Pop's Arcade. I do realize it's been a while since you've seen me here. Just know that all gameplay has now moved to twitch.tv/popsarcade. I do stream in the mornings, and be warned, I do have shit rural internet, so the resolution won't be super high, but most people that time of day are on mobile anyway, so if you want to wake up with me, go ahead and give me a follow there. I will be streaming on most weekdays. But let's go ahead and get to what we're here for. First up, we have the NES Controller. This is iconic. Even though I do prefer an all-direction Sega D-pad, the NES D-pad is by far one of the best four-direction D-pads you can find. And even today, people have a hard time replicating one that works as well. Although, those corners do dig into your hand a little. And I don't like the rubbery feel of the start and select, so I'm going to say B tier. Up next, we get the SNES Controller. Now, I do like this controller. I do think it's better than the NES Controller. However, when it comes to, anything with a shoulder button that doesn't have handles on it, it always wants to slide down my hands when I use it. So, it is better than the NES. I'm going to say A tier. Okay, it's time to piss some people off. Here's the thing, I loved having a Nintendo 64, but it's really the only system to where I would recommend somebody go third party on a controller if they buy one. There's the Retro Fighters controller, there's the Hori brand controller. It's made so much better. This analog stick is so bad. I used to put calluses on my hands when I played Super Mario 64 from spinning Bowser. Then there's the whole Mario Party incident. It's really the only controller where if you use it as directed, you can injure yourself. And you know, the whole three-handle thing, like, I fucking hate it. Like, it's not a shit tier, but it's a D tier. Next, we have the Wavebird Gamecube controller. I actually have very limited experience with the standard Gamecube controller, although it's basically the same thing. It was great tech for its time, although I had trouble getting it to pair. I expected it to be fairly easy, sort of like how it is with the Logitech PS2 wireless controller. Not the case. Although overall it did work very well. Now with this type of button layout, it's not really something I'm used to. So when I do get a GameCube in the future, which I intend on, I may feel differently. But for this, it's not bad. It's just kind of awkward for me personally. I'm gonna give it a B. Alright, here we have the Wiimote, or as I like to call it, the Magic Pregnancy Test. It's a white stick with a plus and minus on it. Here's the thing, I fucking hate motion controls. And if you love motion controls, this is great. But I even had issues getting like the Wiimote to work properly. Like the PlayStation Move remote worked better for me, although the PlayStation Move was a half-baked idea, but the actual hardware itself worked really well. This, like, here's the thing, if I wanted to exercise, I wouldn't be playing video games. I'm more of a sit down on the couch type guy, as you can see. And then they forced this into the Wii U for a lot of games. I fucking hate it. I wouldn't call it a shit tier, but E. Up next we got the Wii U gamepad. Now, I'm very divided on this because if Nintendo would have focused a little more on getting power into the system, and if they would have not tried so hard to just make it like a Wii 2 and just try to make it its own thing uniquely, I think the Wii U would have done way better. And overall, I do like the Wii U, and I am interested in getting one for homebrew purposes. And really, like, this is my first time playing with a sort of controller that had the sticks up top, like both of them, and I thought it would be kind of weird, but I didn't even notice it after a while. And also getting to like play my games like away from the TV, that was fun. Like honestly, I'm stuck between B and A. A tier. Okay, up next we have the Wii U Pro controller. I gotta tell you, I loved this thing. And again, you would think with the two sticks up top it would feel awkward for me. Personally, I dug it. I mean, it was kind of nice to play a Nintendo system with an actual controller again. So, or with a quote-unquote standard controller. And overall, worked great. The form factor felt a little weird, but still, like, that was my primary way to play the Wii U. So, A tier. Up next, we have all versions of Joy-Con Play. This was my first exposure when playing the Nintendo Switch, so it doesn't matter if it's in a Joy-Con grip, on the Switch itself, or... Well, for the single Joy-Con, it was fun for Mario Kart, but there's a lot of games you can't play with it, so I'm not really going to do the single Joy-Con because I only play with it once. But as far as the Joy-Cons themselves, what you see here is far more comfortable than I expected, I will admit. Although, you don't notice it at first, but having a stick that's directly below the face buttons does cause a little stress on your hands, although you don't really notice that until you switch to a Pro Controller. So overall, I want to give this a B tier. Now, this gets a little more hate than it deserves. I think overall it's pretty good. Last but not least, we have the Switch Pro Controller. At this point, they kind of moved the sticks to make it more of an Xbox style controller. This is my primary way to play the Switch. I rarely use Joy-Cons at this point. And I gotta be honest, like, overall, I would put it side by side with like the DualShock or the any Xbox controller as far as the feel and all that stuff goes. However, this thing has a god tier battery life, and like, I can play fairly regularly for several days before I get the low battery indicator, and for that alone, especially like in modern time, this is an S tier all the fucking way. Okay, I just realized I forgot the Virtual Boy controller. I played it once and made my eyes hurt. Fuck that system. I don't even remember how the controller worked. That is all for today's list. Go ahead and drop your opinions in the comments if you want. And for those of you that are pissed off at what I said about the Nintendo 64 controller or the Wiimote, just remember, the more rage you show in my comments, the more you boost me in the algorithm. But that is all for today's episode of Pops Arcade. If you have any other ideas for lists you'd like to see me do, or if you want to check me out on Twitch, go ahead and do so. And I wish you all well, and you have a wonderful day.